Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. A racing pigeon got lost recently. It set off on a straightforward journey from the Channel Islands back to its owner's home in Gateshead, but somehow or other ended up in Alabama in the States. Fortunately, those who found the pigeon were able to track back to its owner, who is now apparently on his way to the States to fetch his pigeon, which, because it's covered with a certain amount of residue from oil, suggests that it made it the 4,000-mile journey partly with the help of a tanker. But I was reminded of this news item when I noticed that today is the anniversary of the first reception of a GPS signal. This was in Iowa in 1977. The firm Rockwell Collins had sent up a satellite which was mainly doing experiments with time, but they used it just to test out to see whether GPS worked, and it did. And of course the system was taken over the next year actually by the United States military, who now own the whole GPS system that most of us use, although it's free of course for anyone to take advantage of. It's an extraordinary thing that you can have a phone which will tell you exactly where you are and how to get to where you want to get to. But one of the things that it does is to make the possibility of getting lost much, much less likely. And I think that's a sad thing. I think getting lost can sometimes be really creative. There's a wonderful little book by Rebecca Solnit, who has written what she calls a field guide to getting lost. And she writes about the ways in which being lost are openings to a new awareness of what it is to be human and who we are as individuals. For one thing, it makes us aware of our vulnerability. It reminds us that we're not in control, and that's why it's often quite scary. And I'm not, of course, talking just about being geographically lost. I'm talking about those moments in our lives when we really don't know which way to turn, we don't know the best way forward in a larger sense, or sometimes even in a small daily sense of just deciding which of the things that we might do next we will choose. There's that sense of being lost, of being open to possibilities, but also sometimes also being aware of being out of our comfort zone because we're not in control of events. And that experience of getting lost can be really creative. Of course, it's a biblical thing, isn't it? Jesus says, whoever loses their soul for my sake will find it. But in a wider sense, this experience of being lost, in an emotional and psychological sense, as well as perhaps in a geographical one, can be an interesting one, a creative one, a revealing one, and one that perhaps we shouldn't spurn if it happens to us today.